This is Robert from Twin Peaks, and you're listening to Inspirado, Projecto. Got a light?
Good day to you, folks. The interview you're about to hear is part two of an interview that I started maybe about a month ago, before all this craziness started with the pandemic. This is Beidi Guo. She is an art director of this amazing video game, Luna the Shadow Dust. You can find it on Steam. Very cool. It's one of those great point-and-click adventure games. The art is fantastic. It's mesmerizing. The music, phenomenal. Accompanies the mood perfectly. The concept, awesome. So this woman is going to explain the creation process. As you know, this podcast is all about the creation process, which I absolutely love. I love finding out the seeds that are planted and how it grows into a forest. So this will give you some insight. Well, in addition to the creative process, you also find out what it's like to make a video game. What goes into it. I know a lot of us play these video games, but very rarely do we really think about what the heck goes into making this thing. It took them 5 years to put this phenomenal little creature together. Now it's out there in the world for people to play and to enjoy. And without further ado, here we go! You know, this, I think with this game here, Luna the Shadow Dust, I think with this game, it is going to become one of those things as, you know, throughout the years, as people continue to look at it more and more. As kids play it early on, they're associating with the little kid, you know, but then as they grow older and they go back to play it again, they're going to start really looking at the symbols and really looking deep into them. And yeah, it's so amazing. Like, just when I was looking up on the ceiling there, when I was trying to do the seasons, and it was showing me like the little hints and the clues, and I started going, oh, and I started matching up in my brain, oh, I got to match, you know, the flower to this thing or that thing, you know, and then it helped me understand, oh, that's what's going on. Oh, that's what they're asking me to do. And it felt, you know, that reward only came from having to study the awesome art that you got in there. It, you know, that's, you can only have that victory when you look deep into that and go, hey, wait a second, there's a pattern emerging, and it just feels so great.
I think everyone, no matter whether you're an adult already or you're kids, there's always a satisfaction when you discover something has a pattern to follow.
Yeah.
Yes, because if everything is out of order in our world, it's a chaos and cause us to feel panic. So as a human being, we naturally drawn towards anything logical or that you have a pattern to follow. So I guess this is one of the main reasons people like play puzzle game, to prove to themselves that the way of thinking is shared with the designer.
Wow, it's so interesting just to think of all the brainstorming that had gone into creating this, and all the minds that it took to put this together, and all the, you know, the hours of drawing it out there and then putting the music in there and just all of that, and just to think that all of those great vibes are stamped into the game, and when people go to play that game, they feel those vibes, they feel that mysteriousness and that intrigue, and it draws them in closer. And
we really hope that people like you, so like talking to a player like you, will feel so rewarding that all this effort actually being acknowledged by player out there. Because there were a point we're worried that, will people get this? Will people really understand what's the thought that we put behind this particular puzzle? Will people find it interesting, challenging, or they find it hideous? You know, there's all sorts of possibility. And especially when you're working on a project for so long, like 4 years we've been spending on working on this project. So there was a point you feel you don't see the game anymore. All you see is problems.
Yeah.
And, you question yourself everywhere. You have doubt.
Oh my gosh.
But finally, when it's finished and you have a new pair of fresh eye together with player to see your game as a whole from the like all over again. This is something that we really enjoy watching other people stream or play our game. So we just watch those videos. We know the puzzle's answer and everything, but that's not the point. The point is now we can follow this particular streamer's point of view to see how he experienced or she experienced the game. And some of them are spot on certain lore of the story that we tucked behind. But some of them come up with very interesting, new, completely different kind of concept that we never ever thought before. But
wow.
It somehow also fit into the environment, fit into the story. So we feel like this is amazing. And we definitely we love that. So we still every day we search on YouTube Luna the Shadow Dust, and whenever there's new video come up, we just watch them all over again with the players.
Yeah, it must be fun because you're sitting in the driver's seat. You're seeing it through their eyes for the first time,
yes.
And so then it gets to, in a sense, surprise you along the way too, because of their revelations and their interpretations. That is really really interesting.
That's the most unique things that we don't want to take away from player by telling them, no, you saw the wrong, we designed
right.
like this. No, we don't want that. And we did have a set of design from the beginning, but that doesn't matter. We're trying to not to like in the Steam community, we can as a developer actually post those stories, but we choose not to do that. We rather the player, all of them, come up with their own theory and talk to each other, discuss about some of the puzzle that got them stuck. So it's kind of so it drives the player as a community further, rather than it is a question and you have a set answer. That's rather
Right. It makes it a continually explorable thing. It's not just, oh, there it is, now I'm done. There's so much more yet to look at.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, like there are so many, what do you call those, fan art, fan story about Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
So if George Lucas come and say, no, all of your interpretation is wrong, only I have the story, how boring is that universe is gonna be? Yeah.
It's so true.
You have to let people to pick things from the world you already created to create their own world.
Wow, that is so incredible. I mean, you're gonna have T-shirts out there before you know it. I mean, you're going to have Halloween costumes. There's so many possibilities. So many possibilities. Yes. Yeah, people putting their little chihuahuas in that little poofy outfit of that little creature.
With spikes on the back.
Yeah, which like I'm reminded of the when they put those little costumes of like the Ewoks, and they put their little dogs in the Ewok costume, and it just looks so funny. You see their little legs walking. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could.
Yes. I hope if the games can reach more people, then we can have some extra budget to turn into to make some of the merchandise. That would be really fun.
Wow, this is just so cool. I've seen it happen. With all kinds of, like, look at, Resident Evil. That was like, wow, they made action figures based on a video game. And I think that was one of the first times that I came to that realization. I mean, I guess I've seen, like, Super Mario Brothers action figures in the past and stuff like that. However, these characters really do lend themselves to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm quite happy in a way. We feel very lucky that the game scene we choose are what do you call that, family friendly. So it's kind of appeal to quite a broader audience rather than say if we made a horror game, probably the game would not be very suitable for kids.
Oh, right.
But
Yeah.
but because of this game, the theme overall, they are like they don't have any age limit, so anyone can play. Like the kids young as 6. We remember there are parents took their kids to the game show where we are showing our demo there. Very young kids, they really enjoy this game. And what really fascinated me about is, when we observe how kids and adults play our game differently, sometimes a level, you can tell the parents were stuck there for a very long time because the parents, they've been play so many games. So we kind of train ourselves to play a game in a certain way. We tend to drawn towards those objects that you can click. And when we fail to find a solution, we feel really, really frustrated. But then I look at their daughter and their son. They probably never played that many games yet, so they don't have this set concept
Oh,
of
yeah.
how they should play a game.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even touch the mouse. They just sit there and look at the game and point at there's a bunny here, there's some symbol there, and by doing that they solve the puzzle quicker than
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, we find that really, really fascinating.
Wow. It's so interesting to see the different ages and what they choose as the sort of point of perspective to look at it through. That's really crazy. So the kids are just kind of looking for the patterns. The older folks are basically trying to match it perhaps with other games that they've played before, or
they were thinking too hard.
Thinking too hard. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But unfortunately, this is how I guess that's all of us, how we become. We pick up a habit of doing certain thing, and we could not let it go.
Oh yeah, thinking too hard.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so great to have brainstorm sessions in the way that you did to make this game, because you didn't think too hard about it at all. You go, okay, you know what? Crazy idea time. Okay, everybody, time for the crazy ideas. Bring them out, and you just and
There's
it's
no
time.
consequences. Just think about something.
Yeah.
Think about anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because it's like, okay, you know what? A 3-headed lamb. All right, we're throwing a 3-headed lamb in there. All right, we don't know what's going to happen there. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Before you know it, everybody's got all these crazy ideas, and before you know it, you're like Frankenstein. It sounds like you all just sort of Frankensteined together your different ideas, and who was, for instance, did you all have a hand in trying to figure out what the characters looked like, or are you the set designer on that? Were you the one who actually just came up with how they looked?
In terms of visual-wise, I'm mainly in charge of come up with all kinds of concept art, all the design, all the visual design of each level or the character. But I will show them to my teammate. So I will make sure that everyone likes the idea, everyone think it's working. Other than I need a team approval, because in the end of the day, it's a teamwork. Mm-hmm. That everyone, when you're working on something that you personally like, I guess you engage more. So I think, I give up loads of version of idea that I personally really like, but in the end, we choose the one that all of us agreed on, and then we proceed that version. I think it just makes sense. People just like to look at the thing they like. If you're being stuck with a character that you hate,
right,
and you have to code it or animate it, you will feel frustrated.
Yes, and that's one of the big important parts about brainstorming process is that everyone feels like they had a hand in making it. That they all had a piece in putting that thing together, and it does definitely excite the team in wanting to move forward, knowing that they contributed to that reality.
We don't have any particular role as like the game designer or level designer or puzzle designer. We just design all the puzzle together ourselves. Some level you can tell are slightly more linked towards visual based, some are more logic based. So those more logic based puzzle could be contributed more from our developers. And say a music puzzle, obviously highly influenced from our music composer. So
that's
everyone
great.
throw their taste of what a puzzle should be like.
I love it.
Together in the game.
Wow.
We have one person who in charge of design the whole puzzle.
That is so cool. No wonder that each and every single one is so unique, so very unique. Because there are a lot of moving pieces at certain times that need to be in consideration. And okay, where's the little guy right now? Okay, what does he need to be doing in order for me to do this thing over here? And
we try to, because we know if there's no one particular level designer, there might be consequences that the style somehow are too different from each other. That might cause a problem for player to understand what exactly is the logic behind all those puzzles. So we're still trying to group those ones that has shared similar kind of puzzle thinking together. Say like all those slightly easy one, a visual based one, we put them in the beginning of the game, so they are not too hard, and the majority of the player they can enjoy. Then we kept those slightly difficult one towards the end, because we don't want to reduce the difficulty at all just in order to please the market. We don't want to do that either, because we know loads of hardcore puzzle fans, they heard about our game before, and they really looking forward to try some of the puzzle in our game. So we kind of rearrange the difficulty among all these puzzles. Then we try to create a steady difficulty curve throughout the game. So towards the end, obviously, it's gonna get more challenging and difficult and complicated. But in the beginning, you don't want to stuck a player on level 1. Then he give up on your game completely. So what's the point?
Well, and it's great because those final puzzles are where you actually are utilizing everything that you learned leading up to that point.
Yes, from before. The clock tower one. That's the most complicated puzzle.
Yeah.
It's we understand it's complicated, and so we have to decide that whether we want to keep it that way. We do worry that it might put off certain people, but it is already the last puzzle. So
and it's exciting.
It should hold some difficulty.
Oh yeah, well, and that's the exciting victory once you figure it out. Once you realize what the buttons do and what happens here and what does that do. Once you figure out the behavior of those things and you wrap your brain around it, it's great because it's like I realized with each of these things, I realized that there could be multiple patterns to be looking for, in one puzzle. So I realized I go through the steps of going, okay, what's the first kind of pattern? Let me find at least one pattern right now that I can, so I get my bearings on something, and then I go, okay, maybe there's another pattern hiding in here that runs concurrently. And once you figure out those things, it's just such a good vibe. it just feels so good. Like, holy cow, I accomplished this thing.
That's good. Because we don't want to teach you something then, like the tutorial-wise, teach a player to learn this trick, but in the end, they never get to use that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, you all did such a wonderful job, and I'm so excited to know that people are going to be out there playing it soon. Wait, did it come out already, or is it...
Yes, our game has already came out last week.
Okay, gotcha.
So 1 week now after the launch, we have received so many feedback that more than we expected.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't know that we're gonna. Well, we didn't know people gonna figure out this much more background story already. We thought it's gonna take people longer, but we underestimate the enthusiasm that our player throw into our game, which is a great thing, really rewarding to see that people already come up with all different kind of theories about the game, like within the first 24 hours.
Oh my
People
gosh.
start to decoding, those writings in certain level.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
So we saw probably it's gonna take another. Originally, we had a bet like how long it's gonna take our player to discover everything in the game, because we did have some hidden cutscene that you don't get to unlock when you only play it the first time.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
You didn't know that?
No, that's incredible. Oh my God, I gotta play it again now. Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah, so we saw, okay, probably it's gonna take them a week. But then within the first 5 hours, some incredible player has already unlocked everything.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Whoa.
we were really, really shocked. So
5 hours,
so
my
clever.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Some of those levels I'd be on there the whole day, because I got this review copy, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and so I'd play for a day, and then I'd take off a day to try to kind of let it marinate my brain, just kind of just see what happens before I go back into it. And I found that I had the most success first thing when I woke up in the morning, because it just seemed like my brain was able to figure out some of the puzzles right when I woke up. For some reason, there was some magic about that. And
yes, it reminds me an incredible thing that when I was really young, the first ever puzzle game I ever played is called The Neverhood. I don't know whether you heard about that before.
Never.
It was the Neverhood.
Oh, I never heard about that one.
It was an clay stop motion
whoa.
animation puzzle game.
Whoa, that's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I highly recommend you to check it out.
Oh wow.
Anyhow, so it is one of those, long time ago, the puzzle games, the puzzles are really hard. And so I got stuck on one particular level for a month.
Oh.
And you don't have internet at the time.
That's right.
There is no way you can find out the solution of that. And none of my friends play that game. So it's just me. Every Saturday, I will turn the computer on. I will start to play the game. I was stuck on that channel, on that level, for like a month. So one day, I had a dream. About I was playing this game, and I went to that particular level. Somehow I solved the puzzle out. So I woke up, trying to remember what I did in my dream. Then by doing that, I finally succeeded to pass that level.
Oh so my gosh.
It's like my brain subconsciously still thinking about this puzzle in my dream or when I'm not even consciously think about that. It's exactly like what you just said.
Isn't it interesting how our brain kind of it's like the supercomputer trying to solve it even while we're sleeping. It's boop, 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 like the bat computer. Yes. And it's trying to figure out, okay, how do we figure this thing out? And what you did, that reminds me of the stories that we hear about Nikolai Tesla, where he would invent. He would run through all of his inventions in his brain. He would test them all out in his brain, and then when he made the invention, he did it the first time all the way through perfect, because he already in his brain he already worked out all the little kinks and stuff. And so it sounds like that's what happened to you within your dream.
Yes. And in my dream, it's not like I dreamt the solution. It's the dream is pointing a direction towards me. Say, okay, this place you thought you revisit a couple of times, but did you actually click this or click that in a different way? So it's kind of giving me this kind of hint. So I woke up, I feel like, okay, I've tried it 100 times, no harm trying it another time. But
right.
This time I'm gonna try something really, really weird, and I thought it's not gonna be effect on this puzzle whatsoever. But by doing that, it did actually trigger something new.
Gosh.
And then it pushes me out of the original thinking in a way.
Yeah.
So that's I vividly remember this experience
when I
was young.
So it's so funny that you experienced that when you were young, and little did you realize that you would one day create a video game that someone else that you would one day be talking to on the phone would actually use that same method.
It's such an amazing thing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, the same thing that happened to you is the same thing that happened to me, and yet you're the mastermind, one of the masterminds behind creating the actual thing. I mean, that's just incredible. It'd be like your younger self being able to speak directly to the video game maker of that video game. Wow, that's incredible. And that's what's happening right now for me. You know, it's so interesting. I used to love those LucasArts games, the Maniac Mansion and Zack McCracken, and those same makers, they recently made Thimbleweed Park. But that point and click, aspect, and I've always loved those. And same thing, we didn't have the internet. It was just my brother and I. I was lucky because my brother was playing it with me, and we'd both have these two brains thinking about what to do for Maniac Mansion, and then we'd go off to school, and throughout the whole day I'm daydreaming about it, and I know he's daydreaming about it, and then we get off school, and I'm like, Josh, I think I have the solution, and he'd be like, Kurt, I think I have the solution, and then we would play the game, and he would try it his way, and sure enough, something would happen, and then I would try it my way, and sure enough, something would happen, and it felt so glorious, that moment where you feel like you got the keys to the city.
Yes, I really cherish this kind of moment in our life, and I sometimes feel that we are, because of there's so many games out there, and it's so easy to get a solution nowadays. Sometimes we are missing out a little bit this kind of individual thinking experience within ourselves, and our patience is getting less and less. When we got stuck, we instantly go on YouTube and try to search for a walkthrough, something like that.
That is so true.
I am ashamed as well. I do the same thing, because I can't complain to other people, but I'm happy that I had experience when I was young, and I still remembered that those kind of rewarding when you spend days try to figure out a problem.
Yeah.
When you finally comes to the conclusion, the rewardness. This kind of sensation that you felt, it's nothing that I can compare. So because finishing the game, it's not an experience. It's the final goal. It's not to finish the game as fast as possible. Otherwise, why don't we listen to Mozart and Beethoven in 10 times speed?
That's right. That's right.
What's the point of that? Rushing towards the deadline. So it is the experience that it counts. Unfortunately, nowadays the fact is, lots of people they will review a game based on its playtime.
Yeah.
And I completely understand why, because the game has a price, and how long you can actually enjoy the game does play into whether you think your money is worth spent or not. I completely understand that.
Right.
But still, I sometimes would like to argue that probably the playtime is not the only thing, or shall we say that it should not be the key thing that we focus.
Yeah.
There are some games are incredibly short, and you can only play it once, especially puzzle game. Once you solve the puzzle, you know the answer.
Yes.
So rarely people play it twice or 3 times. But I think the experience of those 2 hours, if that counts, if that really give me something new, like give me an extraordinary experience, I would not mind pay a very high price for the experience. So I don't think you can value an experience by how much you pay for a game.
Gosh,
it's just my point of view.
Right. No, you brought up so many good points. I mean, I just love getting lost in those worlds. I want to be able to spend as much time in there as possible, and I love that idea that you just said there of not rushing through to get to the destination, because then what's the point of going on the journey in the first place? There's no point. Yes. There's no point. I mean, it's like what's the point of having a good meal if you just snap your finger and suddenly you're full? You're like, like, oh, I'm so hungry, and okay, now I'm full with that meal now. Oh, okay, now I'm going out with the day. No, part of it is the tasting it, is the, ooh, that's an interesting spice. Ooh, that's a good season.
Even if you had a bad experience, you ate some, bad food, that also counts.
Yeah, right.
Because without those experiences, you will not be appreciating the good ones.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what like with this world that you have created with your team there. It's just so mystical, so magical, so much fun to be a part of. That the value. Let's see if there's a way that I could put a value on a game. I guess it would be. How intriguing is it enough to make me want to stay in its world and to explore it, and that's like, if it's not intriguing me and it's not inviting me to explore this whole world that it's got up its sleeves, then why am I there? And I think with your game, it's great because there's so many little symbols hiding around. There's so many little Easter eggs, I like to call them. There's so many little tiny things that are just there that you might glance over at the first glance because you're looking for something to click on or something different. But then you start really stepping back and really examining stuff, and then the epiphanies set in. I love epiphanies, the very thing that we're talking about here, where you come into that revelation, you come into that realization like you had when you were a little girl, and it goes, suddenly the pieces fall right into place, just like a Tetris kind of game. It falls right into place, and you have that moment where it goes, bloop, and that road disappears, and then that revelation comes to mind, and you go, that's what it is. And those epiphanies are just the best epiphanies ever. Like when you, let's say for instance, I don't know how to really truly describe it, but I'll put it this way. It's like when you find the answer to a question that you never realized you had a question about. Do you know what I mean by that? Where you never realized you had a question.
Yes.
Like, let's say for instance,
not only discover the question, the answer, you also discover the question.
Yeah, exactly. At that moment, you realized, oh my gosh, I had a question about that, but I never realized it, and now it was answered, and whoa, now I realized that I had a question about it. It's so crazy when that moment happens, and it's all wrapped up in that same little, it's like the chicken before the egg. Which one's first, chicken or the egg? It's that moment where it's both at the same time, and you're going, what? And yeah, you provide a lot of those in this game, for sure.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really great to hear that, and I think for all of us, sometimes it is an odd question that people never ask, but when you really think about it, we don't know the answer, which is why you play games, why we play games, like what exactly is the reason we play games, and it might sound obvious, but I sometimes would feel that I don't really know.
Yeah, right.
But I am not ignoring this question, because every time I play a game, I enjoy it. The experience is part of the answer towards the question.
Wow.
And each different kind of game will give me a piece towards this final answer, because this answer could be a very, very complicated, long answer, but every game it contributes a little piece towards this big answer. For example, one of the game that I really, really enjoy, is one of my favorite game, is called the Nights in the Wood. It is a narrative-based game. What I'm trying to say is, in that game, I have loads of moments which the designer designed for us has absolutely no gameplay. It has nothing affecting on the main storyline. Say, for example, you have an area which is you can just sit there and watch the sunset.
Oh, that's great.
So that has nothing to do with the game, but I sometimes just would like to just sit there and watch the sunset in that world.
Right.
Yes, I cannot 100% explain why that particular thing draws me that much, but I guess that the reason that the designer designed this particular thing is also because probably some point in his life or her life, when he watched the sunset, he feels some sense of sentiment, reason, or feel a bit of sadness or something, and he captured that moment to duplicate it in the game. So other people can maybe feel the same thing as he did.
And this
thing contributes nothing towards the game itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like he don't have to do that, but he chose to do that because every part of the game you have to manually make it to make it exist. So you better have a reason. So I
that makes sense.
I strongly believe those reasons, whether you're aware of the reason behind it or not, that you put it there is because of something. Like in our game, we have this garden level. You have one room which represents winter.
Oh, yes.
So you have the snow. So snow is something. I came from Shanghai, China, which the city rarely snows. So whenever it snows, it's magical to me. So the school will literally take a half-day break. Everyone just go there and look at the snow.
Wow.
And I'm not even talking about a blizzard, those kind of snow. The snow barely touch the ground and it melts. But that will go on our headline.
Oh, that's great.
In the news. So I have this very magical experience towards snow. So when I try to create snow in that world, that's my reference. I really want that snow thing in that level to move people in a way. I don't want to just create some random particle effect to simulate snow.
Oh, that is so cool.
I want the snow to be exactly the same as what I experienced the first time.
Wow, that is really cool. And you can definitely feel the crispiness of that level. I was surprised to see that the well still worked with the snow. I was on every one of those. I was going, I was messing with the well to see what would happen, and that is just so cool. Those levels, it's so interesting. Yeah, because here these people are playing these video games and they have no idea the sentiments that are stamped into these video games. That is something that is so very close and near and dear to you with that winter. Now you've recreated that for someone else. They're probably
because I can instantly felt those moments when I play certain game. Like both two games can be equally beautiful visualized, but for some reason one will draw me in more than the other. So sometimes when I see this kind of situation happen, I will ask myself why is the reason I drawn towards this particular game more, although they all looks equally pretty. Then I just realized they always have something personal. The designer, they make something almost seems like useless in the game, that it doesn't serve any purpose of the game, but they rather to spend the effort making them.
Yeah.
So you can tell when a designer do that, especially as a visual based person like me. I can pick up those kind of lighting or effect or those kind of color palettes they choose. So I want to do the same thing in my game. Now I have my chance, so I rather grasp this chance.
It's so cool to be able to add those little kinds of things in there. For instance, I was just reminded of in the game Thimbleweed Park. They the first time you played it, they had an arcade there that was closed, but as the game was out there on Steam, I guess you can do updates, which I didn't know. So they would do these updates to the game, so the game was ever evolving, so to speak. They would add extra little levels and stuff. Well, one of the things that they added was they opened up the arcade, so then you could actually go into the arcade and play the games within the game. And so they don't
have to do that.
Right.
Have to do that, but they choose to.
Yeah. Like what a satisfying. It's just a satisfying thing. Like like it really gives you the opportunity to live in that world. I think that's what's so great is like when you're in a world that you really enjoy exploring and you just want to live in there. Like I remember playing oh gosh, which one was it? Ocarina of Time, the Zelda on I think it was Nintendo 64 or something. Ocarina of Time. Oh my God, I loved just running around in that world as Link and just, you know, hopping on the horse and just going up into the mountains, and it was so satisfying. Or like Red Dead Redemption, like those kind of games where you just get on the horse and off you go, and you just want to get lost in that world.
It becomes a horse simulation game because the detail of just the horse riding are so good. It can make a game out of its own.
Oh my gosh.
Just the horse riding bit.
Yeah. Just that aspect. Like you could just do that, and that's just, you know, go off and do that, and you can do a mission if you want. You don't have to do a mission. You can just ride the horse around. And yeah, I think that's what holds me in a lot of these to continue playing some of these video games where it's that world that I just do not want to come out of. And it must be so satisfying for you to see your art moving around, that people can move your little characters around.
Yes, I think this is one of the reasons I choose to study animation when I in the university. I like drawing since I was young, but able to turn your drawing into like moving images.
Yeah.
It's even satisfying. It's like you creating, like you are God. You are creating a new being, just by, you know, repeating these frames. So it comes to life. It starts working. So I find the idea of being like you have this total control, but you are not part of it. So I don't know how to explain it. Properly. So when it becomes alive, it kind of has its own will. So you just do whatever it tells you to do.
Yeah. I love that. You must just get such a kick out of seeing these different minds utilizing your little characters that you've created, and they're just having them climb up the ladders or having them push this button, pull this lever.
It is a lot of work, yes, but the more animations that we create for the character, the more vivid the character becomes. It almost feels like he or she has been living in that world, really lived in that world, and we just has this opportunity to get to know them.
Yeah, like the whole I love that whole library room. You guys have just such unique levels, and I just love how the fact that it just keeps going and it keeps climbing, and you're going, holy cow. And then next thing you know, you're like in this little spaceship thing going between little floating rock planets, and I like that was like, once you figured out the behavior of that was fun. And oh man, you just provide so much fun exploration in there.
Oh, thank you. I have to give the credit to my teammate and also so many other games we've played as player, because we learn all this game design language or cinematic language from all the previous film and animation we ever watched. Without those studies or those experiences throughout those past 20-something years, that we will not be able to come up with idea like this. So as I say that there's nothing truly original, I would say, but because of it's also a game that designed by us, so it's unique in a way that it has our four of us unique stamp to it.
Now, for Luna the Shadow Dust, who are the other? If you could just state their names again and what their jobs are on this, your fellow teammates.
Fox is our project manager. Wang Guan is our programmer, and Susie is our music composer.
This is astounding that that's just a few of you there who put together this entire video game. I mean, that's just like, I mean, you got to really feel astounded about that, because you see some of these games and there's just lists and lists and lists of all these people, and you really crafted it your own way. You all did it your own way.
Yes. This is sometimes we find it's unbelievable to achieve this much of work in the end. But also I have to say that we also had a lot of help from our friends and families, and our publisher is our like marketing expert George, and like Susie's husband. He kind of just voluntarily helped us so much on the coding side, and point out the bugs to us. So it's the team only have 4 people, but the people behind us, I think there's a huge list. Also, Kickstarter. We had Kickstarter in 2016. There's 1,010 backers.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
So that's their first. That's their funding and trusting us to make Luna have this first to be kickstarted, I would say. Otherwise, without the funding in the beginning, we won't be able to make a game in this scale like this.
Wow. I mean, this is just such an awesome undertaking you've done here, and I mean, gosh, Beidi, this is just so cool that we got a chance to talk. I mean, is there anything else that you'd like to promote or tell folks about, or maybe you've got projects in the past that you want to point people towards?
Let me think. If everyone was listening, Luna the Shadow Dust, you can find this game on multiple platforms. You can find it on Steam, on GOG.com, on Humble Store, Mac App Store, and Windows Store. Also, this game is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So I heard there are not that many games made available for Linux. So we had some requests since the very beginning, and we saw, yes, if we have the opportunity, we would like to make this available.
Oh, that's great.
For whoever is using Linux system as well.
Oh my gosh. That's cool. They're going to be very appreciative of that. That's awesome.
So we try to cover as many platforms as possible. So our next task will be try to cover the console, cover the mobile bit. So we really appreciate, because there's so many help we received throughout the years from everywhere. So this is only we can contribute back towards the society, and we are really, really blessed.
Wow.
Just to be able to finish this game is already a success to the team. So if people like it, and people like you who love to discuss the detail with us, like we feel like this is our dream come true.
This is so cool. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule now, especially now that you have a whole new level, that you're entering into here.
The area of unknown.
Yes, that's right. So,
sometimes we feel, well, I can't speak for others, but I feel so unqualified to call myself a game designer. This is only our first game. I know it took 4 years, but it is only still our first game, and I'm fully aware of there are a lot of bits in the game that we could make it better, and we either, because of our technique, our ability is not that strong enough. So we really appreciate all sorts of kind of criticism that people send to us. And we will take it from there. We're trying to improve ourselves, and probably if in the future we're gonna make another game, we're gonna definitely learn from the experience like this. It was such a valuable journey.
Wow, I look forward to seeing what other kinds of interesting and crazy things come out of both this game and all the games that you have in the future.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that too.
All right, Beidi. Well, I'm going to save this, and I'll put this out into 2 parts. So it'll be a 2-part podcast. And
that would be great. I really looking forward to listen to that, and we will share this podcast to everyone on our social media.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. I will too. And you take care and you have a great day. And hello to everybody on the team. And this was just such a blast. And I'm going to go back and replay this game so I could find that secret room you're talking about.
Yes, if you got stuck, just send us a message. We will help you.
Oh, I love it. Oh, good.
Okay, yes. It's my pleasure to be on your show. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you. All right, take care.
Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. There you go, folks. That was Beidi Guo, the animator of Luna the Shadow Dust. My gosh, what a good game. What a good game.
This is Blythe Baines, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.